What is happening, people? It is Brian Alsruhe with NEVERsate.com, and for today's video, I'm going to try to make a case for sandbag training. So there are numerous reasons why I like sandbag training so much, but one of the main reasons why is because as far as implements go, it is pretty much one of the toughest that you can possibly use, because if you can pick up a 300-pound sandbag, you can pick up a 300-pound absolutely anything else. You can use it as a strength tool, you can use it as a conditioning tool, you can use it in its traditional strongman ways of like a carry or a load onto a platform. You can clean and press it, you can throw it over your shoulder for some sort of ballistic movement, you can do sandbag throws for real, like for height or for distance over top of a bar. There are so many different things that you can do with a sandbag. On top of that, they're simple things to make. Just because it's called a sandbag doesn't mean that you need to fill it up with sand. You can fill it up with rocks, with dirt, with dirty needles. You can fill it up with whatever you want. There's absolutely no reason why every single person out there can't grab some sort of bag, throw some heavy stuff in it, and get a great workout in. And then if you want to make an argument for real world functional strength, where you're talking about picking up a bag of dog food or a dead body, a sandbag is going to prepare you for all those great moments in life that you're not expecting. Now, I know many of you out there are involved in gyms that might have a couple sandbags, and for what I get when people buy personalized programs from me and they explain the type of equipment that they have, the most of the time what I hear is that you guys might have sandbags up to about 150 pounds. Now, 150 pounds is a great weight to learn some basics with, maybe even do some sandbag over shoulder, really depending on your body weight. All I'll say is that there is absolutely no time in a strongman competition that you will ever pick up a sandbag that is lighter than your own body weight, whether it be putting it over your shoulder, whether it be picking up and carrying it, or putting it on a platform. Whatever the case may be, you will never ever go lighter than your current body weight. So if you're a 200-pound male, I would not invest in anything less than 200 pounds, because that is what you're gonna need to deal with, and then continually get heavier and heavier, because these days, sandbags are getting quite heavy. In fact, my wife actually just got done a 50-foot walk at 105 pounds body weight with a 200-pound sandbag. So to put that in perspective, that is such an amazing feat of strength. That'd be like me picking up a 500-pound sandbag. I don't think a 500-pound sandbag exists. And if there is, I am not interested in meeting it. So this video is gonna have two basic parts. The first, right now, I'm gonna explain to you guys how to make a sandbag for yourself, whether you're gonna buy an actual sandbag or just kind of create one. And then the second part, I'm gonna tell you guys how to pick these things up and carry them and do all those types of things. So, first thing, you're gonna need a bag. Now, if you have the financial means, I'd like to recommend companies like Rogue or Cerebus. Both have really good sandbags that you can completely fill up. You don't really need liners. They are very, very nice, but yet they are pretty expensive. So I know that's not really a chance for a lot of people. Secondly, there's a company called Ironmine, who are kind of the grandfather of the sandbag area. And they make really good sandbags. However, they don't really make certain weights. So you are gonna need to have a liner. You're gonna need to get that sandbag and create your own variable weight. But that's also really good if you want to start out with a 150-pound sandbag and it's gonna eventually grow up to a 250-pound sandbag. Then you will have room to grow inside of that one bag, as opposed to having to buy different ones, because trust me, they are ridiculously expensive for a bag. The third and definitely cheapest option are military duffel bags. So if you personally do not have any military duffel bags from something that you have done in the past, ask your friends, ask your family, ask your neighbors, ask the people around you. Go to a yard sale, go to a used military supply store. If that doesn't work, go to Amazon, go online, go to eBay. There are so many used military duffel bags out there that you're gonna be able to find some, okay? And you're gonna be able to find them very, very cheap. All you need from that is some sort of, liners. So I'm sure you guys have some sort of experience with these. You've probably seen them in a construction site or anywhere where there is water that is not supposed to be water, but I would highly recommend that you guys stick liners inside of your sandbags, whether it be a military duffel bag, the Ironmine sandbags, or even if you're paranoid, stick them inside the Rogue and the Cerebus ones as well. It will do a lot to keep a barrier either between, if that sandbag breaks, keeping sand from getting all over wherever you're working out with it, and then secondly, if you're working with it outside or whatever the case may be, it'll be a barrier for any type of liquid or water or moisture that could be getting to that sand, so your sandbag will hopefully stay approximately the same weight no matter what. Now, the only thing that I will say about making your own sandbag is that you want this thing to be packed as tightly as possible. I know there are many people out there in situations where you have sandbags that are just kind of like floppy all over the place. That's not really what a sandbag is supposed to be. It's supposed to be tightly packed. So if you have a 250-pound capacity size sandbag, but you only want a 200-pound finished sandbag, then stick in 200 pounds of sand and then crank that thing down, create like a top knot, zip tie off all the sand in the liner, in the bag, zip tie it off, tape it around, do whatever you can to make that thing as small and as tight as you possibly can. That's really the only way that's reasonable to really do anything at all with it. But yeah, guys, I think you can figure it out. You just simply stick sand inside of the liner, zip tie it, stick that inside of the bag, zip tie it, tape it, you have a sandbag. Congratulations. Now, how do we pick them up? As with everything big and cumbersome, there are a billion different ways that you can go about this, and I'm simply gonna share the two that have been the most beneficial to me as I've been involved in strongman training. Now, the first one affectionately has the technical name of kick over and dig your hands under it. It's trademarked. But in 99% of competitions, when you come up to a sandbag, that thing's gonna be sitting up just like Santa's toy bag. You're gonna run up, you're gonna push that thing over however you want. However, if you do a This Is Sparta kick, it gets you a couple reward points, but from there, you're just gonna simply dig your hands underneath that thing as far as you possibly can. Now, before you start digging just randomly, I want you to take that bag and split it into quarters. The middle half, that's exactly where you want your middle fingers to be going, is on that middle line. Now, in order to get it into your hands as far as you possibly can, I want you to dig one hand under as far as you can and then start rolling the bag onto that hand. Once you're there, jam your other hand under as far as you can, take the other hand, roll it on. You do this back and forth until you're comfortable that you are deep enough under that bag that when you apply force into the floor, that it's not simply just gonna slip through your hands. Yeah. Now, if you are in the fortunate position for this to be a light enough bag that you do not need to lap it, all that I want you to do is explode your hips as hard as you possibly can, almost like doing a circus dumbbell clean or a sandbag over shoulder or an Atlas stone to shoulder, something like that, where your hips are really exploding, all right? So you throw it up, and if you can carry enough momentum, you'll actually get a little weightless effect where you can re-grip with the sandbag. You're good to go, you're smashing at your chest, and you are on your way. That is absolutely the fastest way for me personally to pick up and get going with a sandbag, if it's lighter. Now, if it is a little bit heavier, and when I go to explode, I realize there is not so much explosion in my explosiveness, then you're gonna have to pick that bag up just like a deadlift, and you're gonna have to put it on top of your knees, just like you're lapping a stone, then re-grip, get your rebreath, and go from there. Now, a couple other technical points that I will cover very, very quickly. Number one, that line that you drew across the sandbag that your middle finger is gonna go on, ideally your middle of your foot is going to line up as close to that line as possible. Now, how close you can actually get to that line with the middle of your foot is gonna depend on the dimensions of the sandbag, because if you are a smaller person with a really big sandbag, then you cannot stand over top of it, pick it up, and stick it in your lap. You're gonna need that bag out in front of you to some extent. However, with everything, whether it be a barbell, a sandbag, or an alligator, the closer that is to the middle of your body, the easier it is for you to pick it up. Secondly, you're gonna have a much easier time with this if you try to push the floor away instead of actually pick up the bag. The same way that you would cue a deadlift in pushing the floor away, you wanna do the same exact thing here, because after all, it is a deadlift. Now, before a bunch of people freak out, yes, your back is going to be super rounded because you're literally scooping something off the floor that is flat on there, and you're already in a super deficit from the position anyway, all right? Your back's gonna be rounded. However, if you have a good amount of air and you have it braced down, your back really isn't in that much of trouble, especially not at these level of weights. If you are a 230-pound man, probably the heaviest you're gonna see is like a 330, 350-pound sandbag, and hopefully you're in a healthy enough position to handle that. Please remember though, if you do need to take a break on your lap to reposition this thing, make sure you rebreathe and brace before you crush that thing into your sternum, or else you're really not gonna be able to get any sort of breath once you really lock it in. Now, the second way that I would tend to pick up a sandbag, and this is actually how I started out with it, was kind of the cradle method. Now, my wife actually just did a YouTube video all about the cradle method and how she does that with the sandbag, but I'm gonna explain kind of where my head is on it. Now, number one, when I go for the cradle method, the whole idea here is that in my past life, whenever I'd pick up something heavy that was set up like this, I tried to get as much purchase on as possible. I tried to get as much of my body touching that thing as I possibly could before I started exerting some force into the floor to try to pick this thing up. So much like before, I split the sandbag into quarters and I lined up the middle of my back foot with the middle of the sandbag. That would be my bottom hand that is actually gonna be tucked underneath this thing. Now, the other hand that's actually doing the cradling, that's gonna be like wrapped around the head of the sandbag, that one's not really engaged that much right now. It's just kind of chilling out. Really, it's all about getting that bottom hand dug under as far as possible, big belly breath, and then pushing the floor away. But do realize having the middle of your foot lined up with the middle of the sandbag on that bottom hand is what makes this technique work. If you do not have that, you're really, really gonna struggle with this a lot. However, what this does allow, especially for smaller individuals like my wife, is she can't really push a larger sandbag over and then scoop her hands under because the sandbag is too long for her short body. If she tries to do that, the sandbag continually hits her knees and she can't get it up to her lap. However, if she does a cradle method, she can get more over top of it so that when she picks it up, she can kind of squeeze her knees underneath of it, and now it is on her lap. Also, the sandbag is usually horizontal on her lap as opposed to straight up and down like it would be if you did the kick and dig under method. But one of the reasons why this is a preferred method for people with a little bit smaller body is because if your arms aren't long enough to really get around that bag very well, like giving Olu a bear hug, it's really not going to work out that well if you don't have a bunch of crush strength in this direction. If you feel better, almost like an Atlas stone, if you can lay that bag sideways in your lap from this position, you can stick your hands over top just like you would with an Atlas stone. So you may not have enough crush strength from the side to hold onto that weight, but you might be able to drape your arms over top and use your lats to pull it into your body, and you carry it that way. That is exactly how my wife got that 200-pound sandbag done. So I would highly encourage you guys give both of those methods a try, as well as any other methods that you might use. Guys, it's really about whatever's going to work best for you. And again, guys, there's absolutely no reason why everyone can't do some form of sandbag training. If you're looking for some sort of routine, it can be just so simple, right? Do like 5 sandbag over shoulders, pick the sandbag up, carry it 50 feet, do 5 burpees, carry the sandbag back, do 5 sandbag over shoulder. Do that for 15, 20 minutes, and you will be shocked. What I'm really thinking about doing is a part 2 of this video where I actually bring my wife in. I explain the differences between the 2 sandbags. We show actually making a sandbag on top of explaining a couple different type of programs or I guess different sandbag challenge workouts that you guys could do. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely let me know. In the meantime, if you need some more help on sandbag, go over, check out her channel. Otherwise, guys, just realize that sandbags can be an amazing addition to anyone's training. Whether you are just simply a powerlifter, it's going to give you more posterior chain strength. It's going to build up your upper back, your traps, your lats. All those things are going to make your deadlift bigger. It is more of a cumbersome, strange object, which is going to make a barbell feel more like a toothpick when you go back to it. There are so many good things. Even if you just throw it in for your conditioning, the sandbag is the best, versatile, cheapest thing that every single gym should have plenty of. So I would highly encourage that you either make some or you beg, borrow, and steal some. Do whatever you need to do. But guys, get some of that training and get better today. But that is all that I have for you guys today. I thank you guys so much for absolutely everything, staying with me, all the support, everything you guys do for me. If you guys do want to pick up a tank top, Loyal put out an entire, I think like every shirt that they've ever had is in a tank top and it's on sale right now. So if you guys want to go over there, check those out. I'll leave that in the description link below. If you guys do need a program, make sure you email me at NEVERsate@gmail.com. Otherwise, I will catch up with you guys later in the week. Until I do go out to something amazing in your lives, keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other. I'll see you then.